My beloved child, congratulations to you, but do not rush to tell anyone yet. A great miracle is drawing near to your life, and I do not want you to place this tender seed in hands that have not yet learned how to cherish it. Some things I do not begin with thunder, do not come with applause, and do not appear in the midst of crowded gatherings. Some miracles begin very quietly, like dawn, still hiding its light beneath the horizon. Today, I call you to listen with a quiet heart, for I am inviting you to witness something great, something you once believed was impossible. You have lived through many days in which all you could do was bow your head before closed doors. You have looked at your prayers as letters sent away without receiving a reply. At times, you wondered whether I still heard your voice, whether the tears that soaked your pillow ever reached me. But my beloved child, even in the days when you thought you had been forgotten, I was still quietly arranging things your eyes could not yet see. For I know the plans I have for you. I declared in Jeremiah 29:11, plans for peace and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. You have read those words many times, but today I want you to let them sink more deeply into your heart. Your future is not in the hands of fear, not in the words of those who once looked down on you, and it is not locked away by what happened yesterday. Your future is still in my hands. Therefore, do not quickly tell everyone about the stirring you are beginning to feel in your soul. Do not speak too soon because of impatience about what I have only just whispered to you. Not everyone understands the value of a seed when all they see is how small it looks in the palm of a hand. Some will laugh when you say that I am renewing your life, because all they remember are the times you failed. Some will doubt you when you say that a door is about to open, because all they see are the doors that once closed. Some may even plant cold questions in your heart, warnings that make you hesitate, doubts that cause the faith newly kindled within you to tremble like a small flame before the wind. But I have not called you to explain my miracle to everyone. I have only called you to trust me, to walk with me, and to guard your heart as one guards a sacred garden. Remember Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. Some things do not need to be proven with words. When the right time comes, the flowers will bloom. When my season arrives, even those who once did not believe will see sweet fruit hanging from the branches of your life. I know you are tired of waiting. I know there are mornings when you wake up without even the smallest strength to hope. You look at others being loved, supported, and led into open paths, and you wonder why your own life still feels as though it is standing at the edge of dry and barren land. But, my beloved child, do not mistake delay for my absence. Do not call quiet days the days when I have left you. Some great works must be built beneath the ground before anyone can see their shape above it. Some roots must reach deep into darkness before a tree can rise high enough to welcome the sun. In the same way, I have used the seasons you thought were empty to deepen your faith, soften your heart, strengthen your hands, and teach you how to recognize what truly comes from me. You once asked me for a miracle, but you did not know that often the miracle begins with me making you into someone able to preserve what you receive. I do not merely want to give you a gift. I want to prepare your soul so that the gift will not become a burden, a source of pride, or a reason for you to drift away from me. So do not be afraid if you still cannot see everything clearly today. You do not need to see the entire road in order to follow me. Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he was going. Yet he trusted my word more than the familiar safety he had known. Moses stood before the Red Sea with an army behind him and deep water before him. Yet the place where there seemed to be no way became the place where I made a way. David was anointed king when he was still a young shepherd. But between the promise and the throne were many years of fleeing, misunderstanding, gabis, and tears. Do you see? My promise does not always blossom on the same day I plant it in your heart. But if I have spoken, I will keep my word. If I have called you, I will lead you. If I have begun a good work in you, I will not abandon it halfway. Philippians 1:6 reminds you that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So let your heart be at peace. I am not as hurried as you are, but I have never been late. I am calling you to witness a great miracle, but do not assume that this miracle must come in the form you have imagined. Perhaps you are waiting for money, but what I first want to give you is wisdom so that money no longer controls you. Perhaps you are waiting for someone to return, but what I first want to give you is healing, so that you no longer trade your peace for loves that wound you. Perhaps you are waiting for a door to open in your career, but what I am rebuilding within you is courage, so that when that door opens, you will no longer tremble under the belief that you are unworthy. Perhaps you are waiting for your circumstances to change, while the first miracle I want to perform is changing your eyes, so that you may look at your life through hope rather than despair. My beloved child, a heart that knows how to rise again after being shattered is also a miracle. A person who once knew only how to blame others but learns how to forgive is also a miracle. A soul that once wanted to give up, but today still tries to take one more step into another day, is a very great miracle in my eyes. Look at the widow in the second book of Kings. She had only a small jar of oil left, an empty house, a future threatened by debt, and 2 sons at risk of being taken away as servants. When she came to the prophet Elisha, she brought no treasure, had no solution prepared, and possessed only that small jar of oil. But I do not despise what is small in the hands of one who trusts me. The prophet told her to borrow empty jars, and that instruction may have seemed strange when she had nothing left. Yet she obeyed. Then the oil continued to flow, filling one jar after another until there were no empty vessels left. Do you see? The miracle did not begin when she had much oil. The miracle began when she had only a little oil and still chose to believe. I am not asking you today how much you have. I am asking whether you are willing to offer me the small things still remaining in your hands. A little faith, an unfinished prayer, a tear, a weak step. A decision not to give up these two may become the vessel I use to fill your life to overflowing. Therefore, do not underestimate what I am placing before you in these days. A small encounter may lead you to a great door. One kind word you offer someone may become the beginning of healing you never imagined. One good habit you begin today may change the direction of years to come. One sincere apology may open the way to reconciliation that your family thought would never be possible. One time you choose silence instead of responding in anger may preserve peace within your own soul. I often do great things through very small seeds. Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds. Yet when it grows, it becomes greater than the other garden plants. Do not despise the day of small things, for I see an entire forest in one seed, a harvest in a young stalk of grain, and a new person within a heart that is learning to trust me day by day. But remember, the silence I teach you is not fear. I am not telling you to hide your light because you are afraid of the world. I am simply teaching you not to expose your young light to the wind of gossip and careless words. There is a time to be silent, and there is a time to testify. There is a season to keep the promise in your heart, and there is a season to sing about my faithfulness. Mary treasured all these things and pondered them in her heart, because some things are too sacred and too deep to be spoken immediately. In the same way, let what I am doing in you have time to take root. Pray more than you explain. Give thanks more than you boast. Walk faithfully more than you seek recognition. Then, when the time comes, your life itself will speak in place of your words. People will recognize your peace, even when everything around you is in confusion. They will see that you have become gentler after the wounds that once made you bitter. They will see your eyes shining more brightly even though you have walked through long nights. And when they ask, you will not need to exalt yourself. You need only say, "The Lord has sustained me." Perhaps you are hearing these words while your heart is still full of broken pieces. One part of you wants to believe, but another part fears that hope will only hurt you again. I understand that. I know there were times when you opened your heart and were let down. You prayed for something, but it did not come in the way you expected. You trusted someone, but that person left. You gave all your love to a dream, but that dream seemed to disappear halfway through. That is why, when I say that a great miracle is coming, your heart may want to step back, as though you are trying to protect yourself from another disappointment. But my beloved child, I am not like the people who hurt you. I do not make promises and then forget them. I do not come near only to leave again. I do not comfort you with beautiful words alone. I am the one who is with you in the furnace, in the deep sea, in the valley, and even in the days when you no longer have enough strength to call my name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23, 4 declares. And it is not merely a sentence for you to read when you are sad. It is the truth I want to lay as the foundation of your heart. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not that I immediately remove every difficulty from your life, but that I step into the midst of that difficulty and do not allow it to consume you. Daniel's 3 friends were thrown into the fiery furnace because they refused to bow before an idol. But when the king looked inside, he did not see only 3 people. He saw 4 men walking in the fire, and the 4th looked like the Son of God. My beloved child, there are fires you cannot avoid, but I will not allow you to enter them alone. There are battles you never wanted, but I will not leave you to fight them with your own strength. There are days when you thought you would collapse, yet even you are surprised that you are still standing. That is not because you are stronger than you think. It is because I have quietly upheld you in the moments you did not recognize. I have guarded your mind from completely falling apart. I have sent a word of encouragement at just the right time. I have closed a door you once desperately wanted to open, to protect you from what would have wounded your soul even more deeply. I have slowed your steps, not to make you lose an opportunity, but to save you from walking in the wrong direction. So today, when I say, congratulations, I am not speaking only of what you are about to receive. I congratulate you because you did not give up in the days when no one saw you. I congratulate you because, in the midst of your wounds, there is still a part of your heart that wants to love. I congratulate you because, even after being misunderstood, you are still learning not to become like those who once hurt you. I congratulate you because you cried in silence, yet still woke up and chose to keep living. I congratulate you because you are still here, still listening, still seeking the light. You may think these things are small, but I know that every day you do not surrender is a sacred victory. The enemy wants you to believe that you are too late, too broken, too weak, too far away for me to use you. But I tell you, there is no brokenness too deep for my love to reach, no road too lost for me to lead you home, and no night too long for my dawn to find you. Look at Lazarus. When people reported that he was sick, those who loved him surely expected me to come immediately. But I did not come according to the timetable of their fear. When I arrived, Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days. And Martha said in anguish, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Perhaps you have said the same thing to me in different words. If you were near me, this would not have happened. If you heard me, why am I still suffering loss? If you loved me, why do I still have to wait? But in the midst of Martha's tears, I said, I am the resurrection and the life. I did not come merely to solve a situation. I came to reveal that where people see only an ending, I can still open a beginning. Where people call it a tomb, I can call it a doorway. Where people say it is too late, I can still declare, come out. There is something in your life that you have buried in despair. There is a dream you have covered with earth. There is a joy you thought would never return. But I am standing before that place, not to blame you for losing hope, but to call you out of the darkness of what has held you captive for too long. Yet when I called Lazarus to come out, I also told the people around him to remove his grave clothes. This reminds you that a miracle is sometimes not only a moment, but also a journey. I can call you out of the past, but you also need to learn how to remove the layers wrapped around your soul, the cloth of self-blame, the cloth of shame, the cloth of anger, the cloth of fear of abandonment, and the cloth of labels others have placed upon you. You no longer have to live as someone controlled by the past. You no longer have to make your wounds your identity. You no longer have to repeat the old story that says you are a failure, someone betrayed, someone not good enough, someone who will never be fortunate. You are my beloved child. You are the one I have called by name. You are the one created with a purpose, not to remain forever in darkness, but to carry my light into the very places where you once suffered. When this great miracle begins to unfold, I want you to keep your heart humble. Do not allow what I give you to become a reason for forgetting the one who gave it. Do not let a new door cause you to close your heart to those who stood beside you in difficult days. Do not let success make you forget how to give thanks. Do not let praise make you forget that I was the one who lifted you from the place where you once fell. Live like a tree that knows it receives water from its source, like a field that knows it is green only because of the rain from heaven, like a lamp that knows it can burn only while it is supplied with oil. When I do something great in your life, let your heart become softer, your words kinder, and your hands more open. That is the most beautiful sign of a true miracle. It is not only that you are lifted up, but that through you, others also feel lifted. It is not only that your life has light, but that your light illuminates a dark corner in the life of someone who needs hope. My beloved child, perhaps even now, I am asking you to leave something that no longer belongs to your new season. There is a conversation you need to release. There is bitterness you need to place into my hands. There is a habit quietly taking away your peace. There is a door you keep trying to force open, though I have taught you many times that on the other side of it, there is nothing good for your soul. Do not hold tightly to what is past merely because you fear empty space. Sometimes I must empty your hands so that you can receive something better. Sometimes I must pull you out of the old boat so that you may know I can lead you to a new shore. Lot had to leave the city before fire came down. The people of Israel had to leave Egypt before they could walk toward the promised land. You too cannot fully enter what I have prepared if you are still holding tightly to the chains of yesterday. I am not telling you to forget everything. I am only telling you not to live in what I have called you out of. Be patient with yourself in this journey. You do not need to become perfect overnight. You do not need to force yourself to stop feeling sad immediately. You do not need to appear strong all the time. You are allowed to be tired, allowed to cry, and allowed to pause and breathe in my presence. But do not remain forever in the place that has exhausted you. Rest in me, then rise again. Remember Matthew 11:28, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I do not call you to me to blame you for being weak. I call you so that your shoulders may become lighter. I do not ask you to carry everything alone. I simply want you to lay your burdens down, so that I may teach you how to continue in peace. A great miracle is not always a storm being silenced immediately. Sometimes it is my giving you a strong shelter while the rain is still falling. And then the day will come when you look back on these years. You will realize that I never forgot you. You will see that the delays actually protected you from things that were not yet right for their time. You will see that the people who left made room for those who know how to value you to enter. You will see that the failures that once made you ashamed taught you humility, compassion, and strength that easy success could never teach. You will see that the nights you thought were impossible to survive became evidence that I preserved you. And then you will understand why I told you not to tell anyone too quickly. For I want you to learn how to recognize the miracle before others applaud it. I want you to know how to give thanks before anyone congratulates you. I want you to see my hand in ordinary things. In a morning when you wake up with health. In a simple meal. In a sincere question, asking how you are. In a small door opening at the right time. And in unexpected peace, appearing in days once full of anxiety. So now, wipe away your tears. Do not assume that I am not leading you merely because you cannot yet see the whole road. Do not assume that I have not prepared merely because you do not yet hold the gift in your hands. Do not think that because you are in a difficult chapter, the entire story of your life will end there. I am still writing. I am still healing. I am still making a way. I am still calling your name in the days when you think you are unknown. A great miracle is taking shape, not to make you proud before the world, but to help you know more deeply that I am your Father, that my love has never changed, and that your life has never been a waste in my eyes. Keep this in your heart. Do not quickly bring it into the noise around you. Let your faith grow in quietness. Let your gratitude become prayer. And let each small step become an answer to the calling I am placing within your soul. And when the time I choose arrives, that miracle will not need you to shout for the world to know. It will shine through you, through the peace in your eyes, the love in your words, and the life in your steps, so that everyone may recognize that I have done something new, something beautiful, something beyond anything you once dared to hope for. And when that light begins to shine from your own life, you will understand that what I have been quietly doing was never only about changing your outward circumstances. I do not merely want to place a gift in your hands and then leave you to walk alone with that gift. I want to make your soul into a place capable of holding grace, so that when joy comes, you do not lose humility, so that when others praise you, you still remember to bow your head in gratitude, so that when great doors open, you still keep a heart that has compassion for those standing before closed doors. As you once did, some miracles I send are not only so that you may be happy, but so that your life may become a gentle testimony that in this weary world, love can still heal, hope can still take root, and a person who has fallen very deeply can still rise again by my hand. Therefore, do not focus only on what you hope to receive. Look at the person I am helping you become while you wait. Look at the peace slowly replacing your old fears. Look at the ability to forgive that you once believed you could never possess. Look at the mornings when you no longer wake up feeling that your life has no meaning. These changes are not loud, but they are signs that I am very near. My beloved child, I know there are days when you do not feel worthy of such a great miracle. You remember your mistakes, your moments of weakness, the words you spoke when you were in deep pain, and the decisions you made when your heart was blinded by darkness. You may think that I should give good things only to those who have never stumbled, those who are always strong, always upright, always knowing what to do. But you have forgotten that grace is not a reward for perfect people. Grace is my love for those who know they need to be saved. Peter denied me at the very moment he believed himself strongest. He once said that even if everyone else left me, he would never abandon me. Yet, not long afterward, before the rooster crowed in the night, he trembled in fear and denied even my name. If you were Peter in that moment, perhaps you would believe that every door had closed forever. Perhaps you would think you were no longer worthy to be called, no longer clean enough to serve, no longer brave enough to walk toward the light. But I did not abandon Peter in his tears. I came to him by the shore, a familiar place of fishing nets and dawns carrying the salt of the wind. I did not ask him, "Why did you fail?" I asked him, "Do you love me?" For I know that a heart willing to return in love can be healed more deeply than a heart that knows only how to condemn itself. Just as I do not want you to keep standing before your old mistakes, condemning yourself again and again. You have cried enough over things that cannot be undone. You have carried the thorns of regret in your heart for far too long. Today, I am not asking you to deny the past. I only want you to stop using the past as a chain to bind your future. Some scars do not disappear, but they no longer have to become places that bleed whenever you look back. I can turn them into marks of survival, into proof that you have passed through fire without being consumed, and through waters without being swept away. My word in Isaiah 43:2 still stands for you. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. This is not a promise that you will never encounter deep rivers or burning flames. It is a promise that I will not allow them to take you out of my hands. Therefore, instead of being afraid when you see the trials still ahead of you, remember that I have already carried you through places where you once thought you could never survive. And if I have kept you through the darkest night, I can also lead you into the morning. Let your heart learn to recognize my whispers. I do not always speak through great events. Sometimes I come to you in a very small moment of stillness. When you are sitting alone and suddenly feel your heart grow gentle. Sometimes I place a verse of scripture in your mind on the very day you need it most. Sometimes I send someone to ask about you with a sincerity you never expected. Sometimes I cause you to pause before making a decision that, if you rushed ahead, would leave you carrying even deeper wounds. I am still speaking, but the world around you is filled with too much noise. The voice of comparison makes you believe you are moving more slowly than others. The voice of worry makes you think tomorrow holds nothing but uncertainty. The voice of painful memories makes you believe the past will repeat itself forever. The voices of people make you forget that your worth is not measured by their eyes. But amid all those sounds, I still call your name with a voice that does not make you afraid. I do not push you through condemnation. I lead you through love. I do not say, "You must become perfect before you can come near me." I say, "Come in," because I know you are weary. I do not tell you to find a way to heal every wound by yourself. I tell you to place the broken pieces in my hands, because I know how to put them together into a new form. Perhaps this is why I want you to keep what I am doing in your life private for a while. Not so that you may live in loneliness, nor so that you may fear the hearts of others. But a seed that has just been planted must remain hidden beneath the soil before it can rise to meet the sun. If that seed is dug up every day just to see whether it has sprouted, it will never be able to take root. In the same way, the promise I have placed in your heart must be nourished by prayer, patience, and faith that does not always need immediate proof. There are things you need to keep between me and you, like a quiet garden where only I know what you are planting. Do not allow the doubts of others to enter that garden too soon. Do not allow impatience to make you give up before the plant has had time to bloom. Do not let a few days without visible results convince you that I am no longer working. Look at Elijah on Mount Carmel. After a long drought, he prayed for rain. He sent his servant to look toward the sea again and again. But at first there was nothing but a wide sky and still waters. Only on the seventh time did the servant see a small cloud, no larger than a man's hand, rising from the sea. It was only a small sign, but Elijah knew that a great rain was coming. You may be the same way today. Perhaps all you can see in the sky of your life is a small cloud, a small opportunity, a new thought, a little peace, a kind person appearing, an unexpected invitation. Do not despise it. Sometimes the sign of coming rain is no larger than a hand, yet it carries within it an entire sky full of water. I do not want you merely to ask for miracles. I want you to learn to become someone who recognizes them. There are things I have already given you that you have passed by without noticing because your heart was too busy searching for something else. You asked me to open a door while I have preserved within you a heart that still knows how to hope. You asked me to remove every hardship while I am giving you the strength not to collapse beneath those hardships. You wait for someone to love you, while I have already sent people who quietly remain by your side through difficult seasons. You want to see the sea part before you, but you do not realize that I am giving you enough bread each day to keep walking through the wilderness. The people of Israel complained many times in the desert, even though manna still fell every morning as a gift from heaven. They looked more at what they lacked than at what had been provided. My beloved child, I do not blame you for the moments when your heart grows weak, but I want to teach you to count the things I am still preserving for you. Give thanks because your feet can still walk. Give thanks because there is still a home for you to return to, even if that home is not perfect. Give thanks because there is still someone who calls your name with gentleness. Give thanks because even in your darkest days, there is still a part of your soul that refuses to give up on the light. Gratitude does not erase every hardship, but it opens your eyes to see that I am still present, even in ordinary things. There will come moments when you feel too small before the calling I have placed upon your life. You will look at your abilities and see what is lacking. You will look at your circumstances and see that they are not enough. You will look at others and think they are more gifted, stronger, and better prepared than you. But my child, I have never chosen you merely because you possessed everything you needed. I often begin with what is small so that you may know the glory belongs to me, not to your own strength. When I called Gideon, he saw himself as the weakest in his family, and his family as the smallest in his tribe. But I did not look at him through the eyes of the fear he carried. I saw within him someone who could rise up. When I called David, people saw only a shepherd boy, but I saw the heart of a king. When I used 5 loaves and 2 fish in the hands of a child, people saw only scarcity, but I saw a meal for a multitude. You look at your hands and say, I have nothing. But I look at what you have and say, give it to me. A sincere word, a heart that knows how to listen, a small ability you have always thought was ordinary, a painful experience you once wanted to forget, a journey you have already walked through. All of these can become instruments of love when you place them in my hands. But guard your heart against pride when I begin to lift you up. There are people who ask me to save them from darkness. Yet when they see the light, they forget where they once stood. I do not want you to be like that. I want you to remember the days when you longed for one encouraging word, so that when you meet someone who is weary, you will know how to be gentle with them. I want you to remember what it felt like to be misunderstood, so that you will not be quick to judge anyone merely by what your eyes can see. I want you to remember the times I forgave you, so that you will not keep another person's mistake in your heart forever. When I give you something great, let your heart become even more humble. When I make you stronger, use that strength to lift up those who are weak. When I give you greater peace, Let that peace become a resting place for a soul caught in a storm. This is how my miracles spread. They do not stop with you. They pass through you, touch others, and become a river of mercy in a world that longs to be loved. Do not fear the days when you must wait longer than you hoped. I know that waiting can make you weary. There will be moments when you want to ask, how long? There will be times when you look toward heaven and see only silence. But silence does not mean that I have not heard you. A potter does not speak much while his hands are shaping the clay. Yet, in that silence, the vessel is gradually taking form. A gardener does not pull a plant upward to make it grow faster, because he understands that every living thing has its own season. You are the same. You are in a season where I am teaching you to grow. You may not like the pace of this season, but I know what would happen if I gave you too soon what your inner life was not yet ready to protect. Some blessings, if they arrive too early, can cause you to lose yourself. Some successes, if they come when your heart is not steady enough, can lead you away from me. Some relationships, if they come before you have been healed, can make you repeat old pains. Therefore, do not see the time I am using to prepare you as a delay. See it as the love of a father who is strengthening the foundation of a house before giving you a home. And during those days of waiting, continue to live with kindness. Do not stop planting good seeds simply because you have not yet seen a miracle. Continue to love, even when you do not receive love in return right away. Continue to pray, even when you have not heard a clear answer. Continue to care for your soul, even when no one sees those efforts. Continue walking in the light, even if you can see only a short stretch of road ahead. For every faithful step you take today is leading you closer to the place I have prepared for you. You do not need to run quickly. You do not need to be better than anyone else. You only need to refuse to turn away from my calling. Your steps may be small, but if you walk in trust, I will lead them to the right place. Psalm 37:23 says that the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. Do not fear getting lost when you still know how to stop and ask me. Do not fear being too slow when you are still walking with an upright heart. I do not measure your journey by speed. I look at the sincerity in every step you choose to take. Therefore, my beloved child, keep this joy in your heart as you would guard a lamp in the night. Do not let the wind of careless words blow it out. Do not let old memories make you forget that I am doing something new. Do not let fear cause you to reject the door I am about to open. You may not understand the whole road, but you do not need to understand everything in order to trust that I am there. You may not yet see the miracle in its fullness, but you already have enough signs not to lose hope. I have kept you through days you thought you would never survive. I have lifted you up after times when you thought you no longer had the strength to stand. I have placed within you a seed of hope that, though you have often wanted to bury it, still remains alive. Today, I only want you to remember this. The good I have prepared for you does not require you to fight for it through exhaustion. What belongs to you, in my purpose, will find you at the right time, in a way that brings peace rather than destroys your soul. Keep your heart close to me. Keep taking small steps. Keep loving, giving thanks, and trusting. Then one day, when you look back, you will smile through your tears and understand that the greatest miracle was not only what I gave you, but the person you became while waiting for my hand to open. And as you begin to walk in that quietness, you will gradually understand that I never called you to live in the anxious expectation of something extraordinary coming from outside of you. I called you to recognize that what is extraordinary is first being ignited within you. Some miracles do not appear like a door suddenly opening amid loud celebration, but come like a gentle breeze that stirs the curtain in the room of your soul. You cannot see the wind, yet you know it has passed through. In the same way, There are days when I do not immediately change the circumstances around you, but I make your heart less afraid. I do not instantly remove every question, but I place within those questions a peace you cannot explain. I do not always make you see the way out, but I give you the strength to take one more step in the darkness. And that small step, when placed in trust, is already a sign that my miracle is beginning to flow into your life. You once thought you needed a great answer before you could feel at peace. But sometimes I give you only a whisper. I am still here. Yet that whisper is enough to keep you from the days when you once wanted to give up. That whisper is enough to allow your weary soul to breathe again. That whisper is enough for you to understand that you have not been abandoned along the way. Because even when you cannot see my hand, that hand is still holding you. In the days ahead, I may lead you through things that appear very ordinary, but do not think they are without meaning, simply because they are ordinary. Someone may ask about you at the very moment your heart is weary. A verse of scripture may appear before your eyes on a morning when you think you have no faith left. An old memory may return, not to hurt you again, but to help you see how far I have brought you. A very small opportunity may appear, not as glorious as you once dreamed. But if you faithfully step into it, it will lead you into a wider place. I often do not place the entire field before your eyes. I give you only a seed. I often do not unfold the whole map of your life. I place only a lamp that shines upon the step you must take today. Therefore, do not despise the small things I place in your hands. Do not think a kind word is too little, an act of love too quiet, or a prayer too simple. When you sow seeds in tears and no one sees, I still see. When you choose not to answer hurt with hurt, I still see. When you patiently do what is good, even while your heart has not yet been comforted, I still see. And my word in Galatians 6:9 is still being written upon your journey. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up. My beloved child, the harvest does not come because you made noise about your seed. The harvest comes because you did not leave the field I entrusted to you. You may also be tested by the waiting itself. When what I have promised has not yet become clear, your heart may begin to search for other paths, other assurances, and other hands to hold on to. You may be tempted to rush ahead, to open doors that I have not opened, to chase things that seem easier simply because you are tired of praying. But my child, not every open door is a door I have prepared for you. Some paths are wide at first, yet lead your soul into emptiness. Some invitations sound sweet, yet take away the peace I have worked so hard to build within you. Some people come close when your heart is weak, making you think they are comfort, while they only cause you to forget the value I have placed within your soul. Therefore, learn to wait with watchful eyes. Do not only ask, will this make me happy? Ask, will this lead me closer to you? Do not only ask, is this door beautiful? Ask, behind this door, will my soul have peace? I do not want you to receive something good by exchanging it for what is best. I do not want you to have a pleasant moment and lose your long-term direction. I am teaching you to recognize my voice among countless other voices, because my voice is not always the loudest, but it always brings life. There is something I want you to keep in your heart. The great miracle I am preparing is not for you alone. I know you are hurting over things that are deeply personal, praying for things that are deeply personal, and carrying desires that no one fully understands. But when I heal you, that healing will become a refuge for others. When I lift you up, your rising will give someone who has fallen a reason to believe that they can keep walking too. When I renew the dream within you, you will know how to kindle hope in those who once believed their lives held nothing but darkness. What I do in your life will not end with you. because true love always finds a way beyond itself. Perhaps today you do not yet know why you had to go through such difficult months, but one day you will meet a soul that is breaking, and you will not speak to them with theory alone. You will speak with eyes that have cried, with hands that have trembled, and with a heart that has been held by me in loneliness. Then you will understand that not a single tear you shed in my presence was wasted. Psalm 56 reminds you that I count every tear you have cried. I do not allow those pains to disappear like rain falling upon dry ground. I turn them into mercy, into wisdom, into a stream of living water flowing through your life to refresh those who long to be loved. Do not be surprised if I begin to change the relationships around you. Some people will not understand the new quietness within you. They are used to you explaining yourself, defending yourself, and trying to please everyone. They may find it strange when you no longer rush into every argument, no longer chase every judgment, and no longer try to hold on to those who have chosen to leave. But this is not because you have become cold. It is because I am teaching you how to protect your peace. You cannot continue walking with people who only want to pull you back into the old version of yourself that I am healing. You do not need to hate them, blame them, or prove that they were wrong. You only need to continue gently onward. Bless those who could not walk with you. Then place them in my hands. Some goodbyes are not losses, they are liberation. Some distances are not punishments, they are protection. Some doors I close are not closed because I want you to be lonely, but because I know you cannot hear my voice clearly when you are surrounded by the noise of things that do not belong to you. I will not allow you to lack love. I am only leading you out of places where you had to trade away yourself in order to be called loved. Then, in that peace, you will begin to recognize something wonderful. I am not only healing what others have done to you, I am also healing the way you see yourself. For so long, you may have looked into the mirror and seen only your flaws. You have remembered your mistakes more than the times you tried. You have remembered criticism more than encouragement. You have looked at yourself through the eyes of people who never saw your value. But I have never looked at you that way. When I look at you, I do not see only what you have done wrong. I see what you can become. I do not see only the parts of your life that are scattered. I see the house I am building from the very stones you thought had been shattered. I do not call you by the name of failure. I do not call you abandoned, weak, or insufficient. I call you my beloved child. I call you one who is being restored. I call you one in whom I am still working every day. And when you begin to believe the way I see you, you will no longer need to run everywhere, asking the world to confirm your worth. You will know that one word I speak over you reaches deeper than every word people have ever spoken. You are mine. That calling is not meant to bind you, but to free you from the fear that you must become someone else in order to deserve love. Let me tell you about Gideon, a man who once believed he was too small to do anything great. When I called him, he was secretly threshing wheat in a hidden place because he was afraid of his enemies. He was not standing on a mountain with a heroic appearance. He did not have a large army, fame, or the confidence the world often admires. Yet I called him a mighty man. Perhaps he could hardly believe it. Perhaps you feel the same whenever I say that I can use you. You look at your past, your limitation, and the things you do not have. Then tell yourself, not me, but I do not call you according to the fear you carry. I call you according to the purpose I have placed within you. I know you are still trembling, but I also know you can walk forward. I know you are not perfect, but I also know your heart is learning obedience. I know you have fallen before, but I also know you were not created to remain on the ground forever. Gideon did not become strong because he had stopped being afraid before he moved. He became strong because he moved forward while still depending on me. You do not need to wait until all fear is gone before you begin. You only need to take my hand and say, "Here I am. Please lead me. I will do the rest." Therefore, when the days ahead bring you a new invitation, a new opportunity, a new idea, or a gentle stirring within your heart, do not dismiss it too quickly, simply because you think you are unworthy. Perhaps that very thing is the door I have prepared for you long ago. Perhaps what you consider too small is the first step leading into a new season. You may not yet see everything, but you do not need to see it all in order to respond to the calling. Pray, listen, and walk slowly. But do not allow fear to steal what I am placing into your hands. I do not promise that every step will be without challenges. I do not promise that everyone will understand your choices. Nor do I promise that there will be no days when you must learn again how to trust. But I promise that if you walk with me, you will never have to walk alone. The road may not always be smooth, but I will be the strength beneath your feet. You may not know what tomorrow will hold, but I am already in tomorrow before you arrive there. Your heart may still carry many cracks, but my light delights in passing through the places you once believed were nothing but ruins. And while you are learning to walk in this way, do not forget to give thanks to me, even before the miracle is complete. Gratitude is the lamp that keeps your soul from losing its way in the night of waiting. When you give thanks, you are not denying the things that are difficult. You are simply declaring that hardship is not the final word. When you give thanks, you are not pretending that you do not hurt. You are only reminding your soul that I am still good, even while you do not yet understand the whole story. Give thanks to me for the morning in which you are still able to wake up. Give thanks because your heart can still be moved. Give thanks because you can still pray, because you still have a place to return to in my presence. Give thanks for the small things that have carried you through days that felt far too overwhelming. A simple meal, a roof that shelters you from the rain, someone who still remembers you, a peaceful sleep after many restless nights. These are all signs that I am still caring for your life. Do not wait until you receive something great before you begin to give thanks. Give thanks now, for gratitude will help you recognize that I have been present in your life far more than you once realized. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is that you will no longer see miracles as something far away. You will begin to see a miracle in being able to forgive someone who once hurt you. You will see a miracle in no longer having to weep every time you remember what you lost. You will see a miracle in learning how to be alone without feeling abandoned. You will see a miracle in a prayer that was once so weak becoming a refuge for your soul. You will see a miracle in still being able to love after you once believed that your heart had nothing left to give. And then, one day, you will look back on this moment and realize that I did not merely give you a gift. I made you into a gift. I used the winters you once feared to deepen your roots. I used your tears to wash your eyes so that you could see more clearly what is true. I used waiting to teach you to treasure what comes from me. I even used the detours to protect you from places your heart was not yet ready to enter. So, my beloved child, continue to keep your hope hidden within my heart. Do not let the voices of the world make you doubt what I am doing. Do not let silent days make you forget that beneath the ground, the seed is still beginning to grow. Do not let what has not yet arrived cause you to overlook what I have already given you. Take each small step, but take it with an open heart. Pray, but also be ready to obey when I lead you out of familiar places. Wait, but do not wait with despair. Wait with the eyes of one who knows that their Father is preparing something good. I have not called you into a life ruled by fear. I have called you into life, into peace, into light, into a new season in which your soul will no longer have to shrink itself merely to survive. And when that miracle slowly becomes visible, when the things I have quietly arranged begin to touch your life, remember to bow your head in gratitude. Do not say, I did it on my own. Sigh, I was upheld. Do not say, I was lucky. Sigh, I was loved. For through that gentle testimony, your life will become a song that does not need to boast, yet will be enough to help those walking through darkness recognize that there is still one who is watching over them. There is still a love that does not give up, and there is still a miracle quietly blooming in places where hope once seemed to be gone. And when that light begins to shine through you, you will understand that I was never merely preparing a gift for you to hold in your hands. I was quietly preparing new eyes for you to recognize grace, a new heart to preserve what is good, and a renewed soul that no longer trembles when entering a season of blessing. For there are people who receive what they have prayed for and still do not feel fulfilled, because their hearts remain full of the cracks of anxiety. There are people who see many doors open before them, yet still do not dare to walk through them, because the voice of the past continues to make them doubt their worth. But I do not want my miracle to pass through your life like a brief rain shower. I want it to soak into the soil of your heart, soften the dry places, water the things that once withered, so that from your own life, green shoots of hope may rise again. I want you not only to receive an answer, but also to become a gentle answer for those who are praying in the darkness. You may not see it yet, but even now, I am leading you through a necessary season of stillness. You may think silence is emptiness, but to me, silence is where I lay the first stones for a new home. In that quietness, I teach you to discern between the voice of fear and the voice of love. Fear always urges you to hurry, to prove yourself, to hold on tightly, to run as fast as you can before everything disappears. But my love does not drive you into panic. My love tells you that you do not need to fight for what I have set apart for you. What belongs to you in my purpose cannot be taken away merely because you walk more slowly than others. What I have planted in your life will not die simply because a few seasons of strong winds pass through. Be still and know that I am God. The psalmist once declared, not so that you would neglect your life, but so that you would stop using anxiety to fight battles that faith was meant to face. Therefore, do not be afraid when I lead you away from noisy places. Sometimes I allow you to walk alone for a portion of the road, not because I want you to be lonely, but because I want your heart to stop depending on the applause of others. You have sometimes allowed people's approval to determine your worth. When they praised you, you felt useful. When they became silent, you thought there was nothing valuable left in you. But my beloved child, you were not created to live according to verdicts that change with the moods of the world. Your value does not increase when others acknowledge you, nor does it decrease when others turn away. I called you my beloved child before you had done anything to prove yourself. I saw beauty in you when you could see only your own shortcomings. If today you are passing through a season in which few people understand you and few stand beside you, do not quickly conclude that you have been abandoned. Perhaps I am teaching you how to stand firmly through my presence, so that one day, when the crowds come near, your soul will still not lose itself. I know that you have been afraid of losing the people you love. There have been times when you held tightly to a relationship simply because you did not want to face emptiness once again. There have been people who no longer treated you kindly, yet you still tried to remain because you feared that leaving would make you lonely. I understand the tenderness of your heart. I understand that you do not want to say goodbye to what was once familiar. But remember this, not everything familiar was meant to walk with you until the end of your journey. Some people enter your life to teach you a lesson, not to remain forever. Some doors were once places of shelter, but when the season changes, they become places of captivity. I do not take things from you merely to leave you empty. Sometimes I close the hand you are holding so that you may realize that my hand has never released you. Sometimes I allow you to walk through a separation so that your heart may have room for love that is healthier, truer, and able to lead you closer to me, just as a gardener prunes branches that no longer bear fruit. I may allow certain things to leave your life. You hurt because you see only the cut, but I see the season of sweet fruit waiting ahead. I do not prune you to make you smaller. I prune you so that what is good within you may grow without being drained by dry branches. There are habits you need to release. There are memories you need to stop returning to in order to hurt yourself again. There are old promises you have held on to for too long. Though I never called you to remain bound by them, there are faces you still search for in your sleep. But my beloved child, let me heal what you cannot heal on your own. There is nothing shameful about having loved deeply. There is nothing weak about still feeling pain. But I do not want pain to become your home. I want it to be only a road you once walked through, so that one day you may look back and say, I was led out of that place by grace. In the days when you are learning to let go, do not think that I am asking you to lose your joy. I am teaching you a joy that does not depend on circumstances. That joy is not always loud laughter. Sometimes it is an unexpected peace in your heart after a long day. Sometimes it is being able to remember the past without falling apart. Sometimes it is realizing that you no longer need someone else to choose you in order to feel worthy of love. This is the kind of joy the world cannot give and cannot take away. Jesus once said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives." Hold on to those words. For my peace is not a fragile gift that exists only when everything is going well. It is a spring flowing beneath the ground, quietly nourishing you, even when drought has come upon the surface of your life. Perhaps there are times when you look around and feel that others seem to be moving faster than you. They have the things you once prayed for. They have a peaceful home, a clear and faithful love, an honored occupation, a future that appears brighter. Then you begin to ask me why your portion seems to come so slowly. But my beloved child, do not measure my timing by the clock of comparison. Every seed has its own season. Some trees bloom early, yet fade quickly. Other trees must grow slowly for many years before their roots are strong enough to stand against storms. I do not want you to receive a fleeting joy only to spend the rest of your life repairing the wounds it leaves behind. I want you to receive what is good when your soul is strong enough to receive it. What comes late is not always what has been denied. Sometimes it is what I am protecting, preserving, and carefully preparing for you. Look at Joseph, who once carried great dreams within his heart, but had to walk a road that no one would ever choose. He was sold by the very people closest to him, falsely accused, imprisoned, and forgotten by someone who had promised to remember him. If one looked only at each part of that road, it would seem as though Joseph's dream had been buried. But I do not forget what I have placed in the hearts of those I love. I do not overlook the tears that fall where no one else can see, nor do I allow dark seasons to become the final word. On the day I opened the door, Joseph was not merely released from prison, he was placed in a position to save many people from famine. My beloved child, what I am doing within you may also be greater than what you are currently praying for. Perhaps today you are only asking to be free from pain, but I am preparing for the day when the very story you have lived through will become light for someone else. Perhaps you are only asking me to open one door, but I am teaching you how to become someone who knows how to keep that door open for those who come after you. Do not think that your story has no meaning simply because there is still so much in the present that you do not understand. The first pages of a book rarely reveal everything that will happen in the end. A page filled with tears cannot say that the entire book is sad. A chapter marked by separation cannot say that love has died. A season of failure cannot say that you will never bear fruit. I am the one writing the story of your life, and I do not write in haste. I know where there needs to be stillness, where there needs to be a bend in the road, where rain is needed to soften the soil, and where sunlight is needed so that what has been planted may rise. You can see only a very small part, but I can see the entire path. Therefore, walk with me, one day at a time. Do not demand that I explain everything before you choose to trust. There are explanations that can only be understood after you have walked through the road you are still afraid of today. I do not ask you to be strong all the time. I only want you to be honest with me. When you are tired, tell me that you are tired. When you are sad, tell me that your heart feels heavy. When you are afraid, do not hide that fear behind beautiful prayer not true. I do not need you to say perfect things. I only need your heart to open. I have seen you in the nights when you did not know how to pray. I have heard the sighs you could not turn into words. I know the moments when you knelt down but could not find a single sentence to say, and could only let the tears fall. My beloved child, your tears do not make me distant. They are prayers that I still understand. Just as Hannah once stood in the temple, her lips moving without a sound, pouring out all her pain before me. Others may not have understood what she was doing, but I understood, and I still understand you in the silences no one else can touch. Then one day, you will see that none of your prayers ever disappeared. Some prayers I answer by giving you exactly what you ask for. Some I answer by closing the door you are trying so hard to open. Some I answer by leading you in another direction. Because I know that what you want may not be what will make your soul whole. But there is no sincere prayer that I take lightly. Every time you call out to me in despair, I am near. Every time you whisper my name in the night, I hear you. Every time you try to take one more step, even when your heart is weary, I see it. Do not assume that because you do not receive an answer immediately, I do not care. A father who loves you is not one who grants every request the moment you make it, but one who knows what must be given, what must be withheld, and what should come only when you are ready. For this reason, when the great miracle begins to draw near, I want you to keep your heart soft. Do not allow years of sorrow to make you someone who can no longer believe in good things. Do not allow betrayal to make you afraid to love. Do not allow failure to make you afraid to begin again. Do not allow ridicule to make you afraid to listen to the calling I have placed within your heart. Your enemy wants to turn your wounds into walls, but I want to turn them into doors. Through them, you will learn compassion. Through them, you will learn how to bend down beside the hurting without judging them. Through them, you will understand that no one needs cold advice as much as they need a hand that knows how to remain. I can use the very things that once made you weep to give healing power to your words, compassion to your gaze, and to make your presence a refuge for someone else who is weary. But in order to become a light for others, you do not need to pretend that you have never walked through darkness. I am not calling you to hide every scar. I simply do not want you to live forever as though those scars are still bleeding. There is a difference between remembering and being imprisoned. There is a difference between sharing your story to lift someone else up and returning to the past only to hurt yourself again. When I heal you, I do not erase every memory. I give that memory a new meaning. What once made you ashamed will no longer be a chain. What once caused you to fall will no longer be a sentence. And one day, when you meet someone standing in the same dark place where you once stood, you will know how to say to them with all your heart, I have walked through this place, and I know that light can still come. Let gratitude become the flame you keep during your season of waiting. Do not wait until everything is perfect before you give thanks to me. Give thanks because you have another day to make right what was unfinished yesterday. Give thanks because your heart can still be moved by beauty. Give thanks because there are people, though they may be few, who still stand beside you sincerely. Give thanks because even in difficult days, I have not allowed you to be completely without love. Sometimes you do not see the miracle because you are searching for it too far away, while I have placed it close to you through ordinary things. A simple meal, rain after a hot day, an unexpected message of concern, peaceful sleep, a morning when your heart feels lighter than it did yesterday. These things are not small in my eyes. They are little petals I scatter along your path so that you may know I am still leading you forward. Do not underestimate the quiet change taking place within you. Perhaps today you are less quick to anger than before. Perhaps you have learned not to respond immediately when your heart is hurt. Perhaps you have begun to pray instead of trying to carry everything on your own. Perhaps you have dared to say no to what takes away your peace. Perhaps you have forgiven someone, even though you cannot yet forget completely. These steps may seem small in your own eyes, but I see them as great victories. For the hardest thing is not always changing the world outside of you. Sometimes the hardest thing is allowing me to change the deepest part of your heart. I do not merely want you to have a brighter life. I want you to have a freer soul. I do not merely want you to escape a circumstance. I want you to be free from the invisible cords that keep you from living fully in love and peace. Therefore, do not return to the things I have called you out of merely because they feel familiar. Do not open the door to old fear simply because it knows how to speak in a familiar voice. Do not allow the words of those who once hurt you to continue defining the way you see yourself. Whenever the past tells you that you are not good enough, remember that I have called you my beloved child. Whenever fear tells you that you will fail again, remember that I do not promise you will never fall. But I promise that I will not let you fall without my hand lifting you up. Whenever you feel too weak, remember the words I spoke to Paul. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. You do not need to be the strongest person in the room. You only need to let me be your strength in the places where you cannot stand on your own. There will be times when you want to tell everyone about what I am doing, because your heart is overflowing with joy and your hope feels too full to contain. I am not asking you not to rejoice. I am simply reminding you to be wise. Not everyone has a heart able to rejoice in your joy. Some will hear your good news, yet jealousy will rise within them. Some will use your vulnerability to make you doubt. Some will love your story only when they can add their own opinions to it. But my beloved child, the miracle I have prepared for you does not need to be protected through argument. It needs to be protected through prayer, humility, and each step of obedience. Let your heart always have a private room reserved only for me. There, you can tell me every joy, every worry, and everything you do not yet know how to say to anyone else. There, you can hear my voice more clearly than the voice of the crowd. And when the right time comes, I will teach you how to testify. You do not need to speak in loud words. Perhaps your testimony will be the way you remain peaceful while everyone else is afraid. Perhaps your testimony will be the way you remain gentle toward those who were not gentle with you. Perhaps your testimony will be the way you rise after failure without losing your kindness. Perhaps your testimony will be a restored family, a healed soul, or a heart that was once hopeless but now knows how to hope again. Then people will not merely see that you were fortunate, they will see that I have been faithful. They will understand that your strength could not have accomplished everything on its own. And then, instead of lifting yourself up, you will know how to bow your head, because you understand that every good thing in your life is grace. I want you to carry this with you in the days ahead. The great miracle may not come in the way you once imagined, but it will come in a way that brings life to your soul. It may not look like the thing you desire most, but it will be the thing I know you need most. It may not appear on the day you have chosen, but it will arrive in the season when I know you are ready to bloom. You do not have to struggle to force it to happen. You only need to keep believing. Keep living uprightly. Keep your heart pure. And keep taking small steps in my presence. Do not let today be stolen by worries about tomorrow. Every day I give you carries enough grace for that day. Today, all you need to do is remain in my love. Today, all you need to do is not give up. Today, all you need to do is allow me to lead you one step farther. And even when you have not yet seen what I have promised, let your heart whisper, I believe, not because you understand everything, but because you know that I am the one who never leaves you. Not because you are no longer afraid, but because in the midst of fear, you choose to believe that my love is greater. Not because the path is already clear, but because you know that my hand is still holding yours. One day, you will stand in the very place that once made you weep and realize that I have turned that land into a place of life. You will look back at doors that once closed and understand that I was leading you toward another door wider, brighter, and more fitting for what I have placed within your soul. Then you will no longer ask why I made you wait so long. You will simply bow your head, your heart full of gratitude, and say, I did not know, but you were still leading me, and I will smile. Because from beginning to end, you have never walked alone. And when people begin to see that I have done something new in your life, you will understand why I taught you to slow down, to keep your heart quiet, and to learn to trust me even when there was no clear sign before your eyes. For the greatest miracle is not merely when circumstances change, but when you are no longer the same person who once trembled before every wind. There will come a day when you look at yourself and see that I have changed the way you rise after every fall. Before, a single word could leave you wounded for a long time. A cold glance could make you question your own worth. One rejection could make you think that you were no longer good enough to be loved. But then, in the days when nothing seemed to be changing, I was quietly healing you. I did not do this by erasing every memory, for there are memories that must remain so that you may understand how far you have come. I did not remove every trace of the past, for even scars can become evidence that you survived what once seemed impossible to overcome. I simply changed their meaning. What once made you ashamed, I turned into a lesson. What once wounded you, I turned into compassion. What once made you bow your head, I turned into a reason for you to lift it and realize that you were never abandoned. There will be people who do not understand that change. They will remember only the old version of you, the days when you were weak, the times when you lost your way, the moments when you did not know where to go. They may still look at you through old eyes, as though you must forever live inside the image of who you once were. But my beloved child, do not let the eyes of others imprison you in the place from which I have brought you out. No one has the right to call you by the name of your past when I am calling you by a new name. No one has the right to condemn you for the days when you had not yet learned to love yourself. No one has the right to say that you cannot change when I am the one who can make the desert bloom and turn barren valleys into places through which living water flows. I once declared through Isaiah, Behold, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth. Let those words become a light within your heart. Do not keep looking at what is past and forget that I am preparing a new season. Do not stand too long before a closed door without noticing that another path is slowly opening behind you. There are things you lost, not because I wanted to hurt you, but because I knew you could not enter what is new while your hands were still gripping what is old. You will learn that not every farewell is an ending. Some people leave your life so that you may understand that your peace cannot be placed in someone else's hands. Some relationships fall apart so that you may realize that true love does not make you beg to be allowed to stay. Some dreams do not come true so that you will not continue spending your life on what was never meant for you. I know that you cried deeply then. There were nights when you stared at the ceiling. Your heart as empty as a room where no voice remained. You tried to ask yourself what you had done wrong, where you had fallen short, and in what way you had not been good enough. But I want you to know that not everyone leaves because you are unworthy. Sometimes they leave because their path cannot walk alongside the path I am leading you toward. Sometimes I must remove them from your life to keep your heart from being wounded even more. Sometimes I must allow you to pass through loneliness so that you can find your own voice again. So that in the silence, you may hear my voice calling you more clearly. And how strange it is that in the very days when you thought you had nothing left, I began to give you things that were deeper. You once wished for many people to stand beside you, but then I taught you to cherish one person who is sincere. You once wished for a life without hardship, but I taught you to see that even in difficult days, you can still keep a grateful heart. You once asked me to take away all sorrow, but I taught you that tears are not a sign of weakness. Some tears are prayers that your lips cannot speak aloud. Some tears are the way your soul is washed clean after months of having to hide so much pain. Some tears become the path through which you grow softer, gentler, and more understanding toward those who are walking through the same darkness you once walked through. I have never despised your tears. I see every drop that falls. I hear every sigh you try to hide before other people. And in the very hours when you thought you were completely alone, I sat beside you, not saying too much, only quietly remaining there so that you would know you still had a place to return to. Some miracles do not arrive with noise, but with a strange and holy peace. There will be days when you face things that once terrified you, yet your heart will no longer tremble as it did before. You will meet again those who once hurt you, but your heart will no longer be dragged back into old wounds. You will walk down roads that once made you sad, but this time you will no longer feel drowned by memory. You will realize that I do not always remove everything from your life. I simply make those things lose their power over your soul. That is when you will know that you have been healed. Not because you have forgotten everything, but because what once hurt you no longer controls you. Not because you were never wounded, but because you have learned to let my love become greater than every wound. Not because you are no longer afraid, but because you have learned to bring that fear before me instead of allowing it to lead your life. When you begin to live in that peace, you will gradually understand that I am not only blessing you, I am also using your life as a reminder for others. Someone will look at you and realize that they, too, can begin again. Someone may feel that they are too late, but when they see you rise after difficult days, they will know that hope still remains. Someone may believe that they are unloved, but through your gentleness, they will sense that there is still a love in this world that does not demand, does not calculate, and does not walk away when everything becomes difficult. Someone may be living in darkness, and a single kind word from you may become a small lamp that helps them walk a little farther. Do not think that you must do something magnificent in order to bring light to others. Sometimes light begins when you do not wound anyone with your words. Sometimes light is choosing forgiveness instead of holding on to resentment. Sometimes light is staying beside someone who needs to be heard. Sometimes light is daring to say to a desperate heart, "You are not alone." I want you to remember that the very things you have endured will become a bridge that helps you draw near to people who are hurting. Some people need only hear you say that you were once afraid, that you once cried, that you once did not know what to do, and they will find the courage to keep living. I do not allow the difficult seasons of your life to become meaningless. There is no pain that you offer to me that I allow to fall uselessly to the ground. I can use your own wounds to teach you how to bandage the wounds of others. I can use the years when you were lost to make you someone who knows how to guide those who are confused. I can use what you have lost to teach you how to cherish what remains. Perhaps today you do not understand it all, but there will come a time when you look back and realize that everything you once thought was broken has gradually become the material with which I built a stronger home within you. Do not be afraid when I lead you into places you have never been. There may be times when I ask you to step out of your comfort zone. I may call you to leave old habits, old thoughts, old people, and old places behind. You may feel like Abraham long ago, walking forward without clearly seeing the destination. But my beloved child, do not forget that you do not walk alone. When I call you to leave, I go with you. When I lead you through unfamiliar lands, I do not abandon you in the middle of the journey. I know that you fear change, because change often makes the human heart tremble. You fear that if you let go of what is familiar, you will have nothing left to hold on to. But what is familiar is not always what is best for you. There are places where you have stayed too long, not because they were home, but simply because you were afraid to step outside. There are cages you have grown so used to that you mistook them for the sky. I want to set you free, not only so that your life may become wider on the outside, but so that your soul may breathe in true freedom. And when you walk according to that calling, there will be days when you feel weak. Do not be quick to blame yourself for that. I do not love you only when you are strong. I am not beside you only when you do everything well. My love does not depend on whether you are perfect. I know that you are only human, with limitations, weary days, moments of impatience, and times when your heart is filled with doubt. I see it all, and still I love you. I know there are times when you want to pray but do not know what to say. There are days when you begin to speak, yet all you can do is sigh. There are nights when you kneel down, but your tears are greater than your words. Do not think that I do not understand. I understand even the things you cannot express. I hear the prayers that have not yet become sentences. I know the desires you hide deep within your heart because you are afraid to speak them and be disappointed again. I am not unfamiliar with your weaknesses. On the contrary, it is when you realize that you cannot carry everything by yourself that you begin to open the door for my strength to enter. Let me remind you of the small boat of the disciples in the storm. They were men of the sea, and they knew how frightening great waves could be. But that night, the wind blew fiercely. Water rushed into the boat, and fear made them forget that I was with them. They woke me in panic, and I spoke to the sea. Be still, be silent, my beloved child. There are storms, not because I am absent, but because you have forgotten that I am still in the boat of your life. I do not always prevent the storm from coming, but I always have authority over the storm. I do not always make the sea calm immediately, but I can make your heart calm even while the waves are still high. Sometimes what you need is not a path without difficulty, but a heart peaceful enough to walk through that difficulty. Sometimes the miracle is not that the storm disappears, but that you realize you are no longer as afraid as before because you know I am still holding your hand. Therefore, do not be quick to look at what is missing and forget what I have already done. Do not keep counting what has not yet come and forget to give thanks for what is already here. You still have breath to begin again. You still have hands to work. You still have feet to keep moving forward. You still have a heart that can be moved by beautiful things. You still have new mornings in which to mend what was unfinished yesterday. You may not have everything you once hoped for, but you have never been completely without, my love. I still send sunlight to your window every day. I still place kind people along your path. I still give you moments of peace when life becomes too loud. I still give you lessons so that you may grow. I still give you opportunities to forgive, to love again, to believe again, and to live again. Do not treat these things as ordinary, for they are the small miracles that nourish you every day. Perhaps one day, you will look back and realize that what you once called waiting was actually the time I was using to prepare you. I was preparing your heart so that you would no longer choose what wounds you. I was preparing your eyes so that you would recognize what true love is. I was preparing your steps so that you would no longer run after paths that do not belong to you. I was preparing your faith so that when the miracle comes, you will not merely rejoice because you received what you desired, but you will understand that my presence itself is the greatest gift. For if you have everything but do not have peace, your heart will still be empty. If you have success but no longer know how to love, your soul will still be poor. If the world praises you, but you do not know that you are loved by me, you will still feel alone. But when you have me, even in days that are not yet complete, you still have a place on which to stand firm. So keep walking. You do not need to walk quickly. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You only need to take one more step each day in trust. Each day, forgive a little more. Each day, be a little less afraid than you were yesterday. Each day, learn to love yourself with the love I have for you. Each day, learn to give thanks even when you have not yet seen every answer. That is how the great miracle gradually takes shape in your life. Not in one glorious moment, but through thousands of small choices you make with faith. Not through grand words, but through a heart that still knows how to hope. Not because you have never fallen, but because every time you fall, you still choose to take my hand and rise again. Then there will come a time when you realize that what I want to give you is not merely a new door, a new opportunity, or a new joy. What I want to give you is a new life, a life no longer held prisoner by the past, a life that no longer runs after the approval of others, a life that knows that even if many things are lost, you do not lose me, a life that knows how to smile, not because there are no more hardships, but because you have found a love greater than every hardship, a life that knows how to bow its head, not out of fear, but out of gratitude, a life that knows how to look toward heaven, not to escape reality, but to remember that above every reality you face, there is one who loves you with an unchanging love. Therefore, congratulations once again, not only because something great is coming, but because you are becoming someone who can receive it with a heart that is deeper, gentler, and stronger. Keep this faith hidden in your heart as you would guard a sacred flame. Do not let the words of others extinguish what I am kindling within you. Do not let unclear days make you forget that I am still at work. You do not need to see everything in order to know that I am here. You do not need to have an answer for everything in order to believe that I am still leading the way. Simply keep walking with me. And one day, when you look back at the road you have traveled, you will smile and say, "You did not abandon me. You were there from beginning to end." And those very words will become the most beautiful miracle of your life. Then there will be a morning when you open your eyes and notice a different kind of peace within your heart. Not because every problem has disappeared overnight, not because you have received every answer, and not because the people who once hurt you have suddenly understood the pain in your heart, but because I have quietly placed a new strength inside you. You will sit up in your familiar room, watch the light touch the window frame, hear life beginning outside, and understand that you are no longer the same person who fell asleep the night before. Something within you has awakened. A part of your soul that had grown weary is beginning to breathe again. A small hope, once buried beneath months of disappointment, is gently opening its eyes beneath my tender hand. And you will remember that I told you not to tell anyone too quickly. Because a great miracle does not always begin with a change in circumstances. It often begins with a holy change in the deepest place of the human heart. When I renew your heart, I am laying the foundation for greater things that you cannot yet see. My beloved child, I know there have been times when you lived among many people and yet felt as though you were walking through a desert without a single soul in sight. You smiled when you needed to smile, answered when you needed to answer, and still completed the things you had to do. But when you returned to silence, you realized that you were so tired that you did not know what to say even to yourself. Perhaps you once thought that no one understood the battles you had to fight in secret. But I know every time you swallowed your tears so that no one would worry about you. I know the nights when you stared at the ceiling and wondered whether tomorrow would bring anything better. I know the moments when you wanted to let go, but still tried to hold on for one more day, one more hope, one more prayer. And because I know, I do not take that quiet perseverance lightly in the eyes of the world. Perhaps no one applauds the battles that take place within your heart, but in heaven, every time you refuse to surrender, every time you choose not to let darkness take hold of you, every time you return to me, even while your heart is still full of doubt, is a victory worthy of being remembered. That is why I do not want you to underestimate your small steps. You often think that only great things matter, that your life can have meaning only when you achieve something extraordinary. But I see you differently. I see value in the day you wake up, even when your heart does not want to. I see beauty when you choose to speak a kind word, even while you are hurting. I see courage when you dare to apologize, dare to forgive, and dare to leave what is no longer worthy of your soul. I see light when you continue to do what is right, even when no one knows. When you remain honest, even though you could choose an easier path. And when you keep your heart pure, while the world around you holds so many things that could make you cold. Do not forget the words I once spoke. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Great miracles do not usually arrive by accident. They are prepared through the days when you learn to be faithful in small things. Learn to trust in what is still unclear, and learn to love even when you have not yet received the love you longed for. And as I lead you through this season, I may allow certain things around you to change. Some people who were once very close may gradually become distant. Some places that once felt familiar may no longer bring peace to your heart. Some things you once held tightly may begin to slip from your hands, leaving you confused and believing that you are losing everything. But my beloved, not everything that leaves is a loss. Some things leave your life because I am setting you free. Some doors close because I do not want you to keep entering places that would cause you to lose yourself. Some silences from others are not meant to wound you, but to teach you that you do not need anyone's approval to know that you are worthy. I am removing from you what does not belong to your new season, not to leave your heart empty, but to make room for better things to enter. A hand cannot receive a new gift while it is still clutching the broken pieces of the old one. Perhaps, right now, you do not understand why I have allowed you to walk through winding paths. You once prayed for a straight road, yet I led you through ways you never planned to take. You hoped for doors to open immediately, yet I allowed you to wait at the threshold longer than you wanted. You longed to see the outcome, but I showed you only the next step. Still, remember that I never lead you without purpose. When my people walked through the wilderness, I was not only bringing them out of Egypt, I was also teaching them how to stop living like slaves. Some chains are not around your wrists, but hidden in the way you think about yourself. Some deserts are not outside of you, but live within the fear that constantly tells you that you are not enough, not worthy, and unable to begin again. That is why, before I lead you into a new land, I often heal the way you see yourself. I want you to understand that you are not the sum of your old mistakes, not the result of what others once said about you, and not the wound that once made you weep. You are a beloved creation, called by name, seen by me, even when the world has passed you by. Let me tell you about Joseph. A man who carried dreams so great that even those closest to him could not understand them. When he shared those dreams, instead of receiving encouragement, he received jealousy. His brothers sold him, and his life was pushed into places he never chose. Joseph went from the coat of many colors to the pit, from the pit to a prison, and from prison into a long season that seemed to have no way out. But, my beloved, I never left Joseph. I was there in the pit, in the unfamiliar house, in the darkness of the prison, and in the years when he was forgotten, in the very place people believed was the end. I was preparing for him a position no one could take away. The same is true for you. Do not be too quick to call difficult days a failure. Perhaps where you stand today is not where you will remain forever. Perhaps what I am doing within you right now cannot yet be seen by anyone else. But I know how to bring a person from a place of being forgotten to a place of being used for something great. What matters is that you do not allow the bitterness of old days to spoil the heart of your new season. Therefore, while you wait for that miracle to become clear, I want you to care for your heart. Do not allow the careless words of others to become the loudest voice in your mind. Do not let one rejection convince you that you are not worthy of being chosen. Do not let the things you do not yet have make you forget what I am still giving you every day. Look more closely, and you will see that grace is still all around you. Perhaps I have not answered in the way you expected, but I am still preserving you. Perhaps I have not opened the door you wanted, but I am still giving you strength to continue. Perhaps you have not yet arrived at the place you dream of, but you have come much farther than the person you once were. Someone is praying for one more peaceful day, like the day you are living now. Someone wishes they could hear a loving voice that you may sometimes take for granted. Someone longs for a home, a meal, a body still strong enough to walk, or a soul still able to be moved by beauty. Do not become so focused on waiting for a great miracle that you forget to thank me for the small ones. Gratitude will keep your eyes bright as you walk through days that do not yet feel complete. From this, I want you to learn something very deep. Do not let fear tell the story in place of faith. Fear always arrives early. It sees a door that is not opened and tells you that you will always be rejected. It sees someone leave and tells you that you will always be alone. It sees one failure and tells you that you have no future. But faith does not deny what you are facing. Faith simply refuses to give those things the authority to decide how your story ends. David saw Goliath, but he did not look at him through the eyes of helplessness. He remembered me. He remembered that strength does not lie in armor, height, or the cheers of a crowd. And then, one small stone in the hand of a shepherd became the instrument of a victory that an entire nation never expected. Do not think that you must have everything before I can use you. You do not need to become perfect before I can love you. You do not need to have every answer before I can lead you. What I need from you is not flawless perfection, but a heart willing to place the little it has into my hands. So when you feel that you have very little left, bring that little to me. When you have only a small measure of faith left, give that faith to me. When all you have is a brief prayer, speak it to me. When you do not know how to express yourself, simply sit quietly in my presence. For I understand even the things you cannot put into words. Sometimes the most beautiful prayer is not a long one, but only the sigh of a weary soul. Sometimes the truest prayer is simply this: Lord, I do not know what to do anymore, but I still want to trust you. And my beloved, I do not despise that prayer. I hear it. I lift it up. I answer it in ways your heart may not understand right now. There are things I do not give you immediately, because I know you need something deeper. There are things I do not remove immediately because I am using them to make your faith stronger. But not one tear you shed is wasted, and not one cry from your heart disappears into the heavens. I am still listening. If there are times when you feel that you are moving more slowly than others, do not be ashamed. Every seed has its own season of sprouting. Some trees bloom early, while others need many years to grow deep roots. Yet both are beautiful when they bloom at the right time. Do not compare your journey with someone else's, because you do not know what winds they have endured, and they do not know what battles have shaped you. I did not create you to become a copy of anyone else. I did not call you to follow the pace of the crowd. I called you to walk in the rhythm of grace. Perhaps you have not yet stood out, but you are being cultivated. Perhaps you have not yet been seen, but you are being prepared. Perhaps you do not yet have what others possess, but I am doing a work within you that no one else can do in your place. When your season comes, you will not need to fight for the light. What I have appointed for you will find its way to you. Just as dawn does not need permission from the darkness to appear, and when you begin to recognize that I am making a way, do not let your heart become frantic. Walk slowly in wisdom. Listen before you decide. Pray before believing every beautiful promise. Not everything that shines is my light, and not every open door is a door meant for you. But I will teach you how to discern. My peace will become a quiet bell within your heart. When something comes from me, it will not always be easy, but it will not pull you away from the love, truth, and dignity that I have placed within you. When something does not come from me, no matter how dazzling it may appear, it will eventually leave behind confusion, unrest, and exhaustion. Therefore, learn not only to ask, will this make me happy? But also, will this bring my soul closer to you? What I give you will never require you to trade your soul in order to keep it. Perhaps the great miracle I am preparing is not meant for you alone. Perhaps, through your healing, someone else will dare to believe that they too can be healed. Perhaps through the way you rise again, someone who is close to giving up will find hope once more. Perhaps through your simple testimony in the future, a lost soul will know that I am still at work in human lives. I do not transform you merely so that you may be happy by yourself. I transform you so that the peace within you may spread like light through a window. I teach you to forgive so that others may see that love is stronger than pain. I teach you humility so that others may see that grace is greater than success. I teach you to rise after brokenness so that others may know there is no place too dark for me to enter. You will not need to speak grand things. Your very life, when placed in my hands, will become a message gentler than many long sermons. Therefore, continue to keep what I am planting within you private, but do not keep your gratitude hidden. Thank me in the days when you cannot yet see the result. Thank me while the door is still closed, because I know what lies behind it. Thank me when you do not understand, because I still understand. Thank me while you are still learning to walk, because I never abandon a child who is learning to stand again. Perhaps you cannot see everything that is being prepared, but I can. I am connecting roads you thought would never meet. I am touching hearts you have never known. I am bringing you closer to the moment when what once made you cry will no longer be the source of your tears, but will become evidence of my faithfulness. One day, you will look back and understand that I was never late. I simply came at the right time, when your heart had become mature enough to recognize that the miracle was not in receiving everything you wanted, but in finding me through every part of the journey you walked. So, my beloved, keep your heart at peace. Do not let the noise of the world make you forget my whisper. Do not let words of doubt cause you to lose what I am placing within your soul. Do not rush to boast about your new season before it is strong enough to bloom. But do not hide the hope I am bringing back to life within you either. Take each step, live each day, and love each person I place along your path. Let your eyes learn to see what is beautiful. Let your words become a refuge for those who are weary. Let your hands learn to lift others up rather than judge them. And in all these things, remember that I am closer to you than your breath, gentler than the morning light, and more steadfast than anything you have ever feared losing. The great miracle is not only ahead of you, it began the moment you chose to believe that I am still writing the story of your life. Therefore, do not rush to search for loud signs to confirm what I am doing. There are days when I place within your heart only a very small piece, a gentle expectation you cannot explain, or a quiet thought that tells you, do not give up. Take one more step. You may think that it is only a passing emotion, but sometimes those gentle stirrings are my voice, calling you out of the darkness where you have remained for too long. I do not always speak to you through thunder and lightning. Sometimes I come like the gentle whisper that touched Elijah on Mount Horeb after the wind, the earthquake, and the fire. I am not always found in what overwhelms people, but I am present in the soft voice that causes a weary heart to want to believe one more time. My beloved, if today your heart can still be stirred by a prayer, if you can still be moved by a peaceful morning, if you still desire to return closer to me, then that is not something small. It is proof that your soul is not dead, that I am still watering the driest place within you, and that your new season has already begun through things that are quiet and unseen. I know that you have prayed for a miracle in a very specific way. You wanted a clear answer, a door to open right before your eyes, someone to change, or a circumstance to be reversed. You wanted to see my hand intervene so that pain would no longer touch your life. I understand that because I have seen how you have walked through those long nights. I have seen you sitting quietly in your room, surrounded by questions you did not know whom to share with. I have seen you open your phone and close it again, waiting for a message that never came. I have seen you try to appear normal while waves were breaking inside your heart. But, my beloved, I do not believe that I have not heard, simply because I have not answered in the exact way you imagined. I hear even the sighs you cannot speak aloud. I see the tears you quickly wipe away so no one will notice. Romans 8:26 reminds us that when we do not know how to pray, the Holy Spirit intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. That means that even when you do not have the strength to say, Lord, please help me, I still understand what your heart is crying out for. There are things I do not do immediately, not because I am rejecting you, but because I am protecting what I want to give you. A seed pulled out of the soil too early cannot become a tree. A child forced to run before their legs are strong enough may fall more painfully. In the same way, some things, if they came to you in an earlier season, when your soul was still too weary, when your heart had not yet healed, when you were still seeking your worth in the approval of others, could cause the very blessing you prayed for to become a burden. I do not want to give you something beautiful and then watch you lose yourself within it. I want you to enter when the door opens with a mature heart. I want you, when someone loves you, to no longer have to beg them to stay, because you already know you are loved by me. I want you, when success comes, to no longer treat it as a throne to lift your own name, but as a table where you can share bread with others. I want you, when you receive more, to become gentler, more grateful, and closer to me. And because I am preparing you in this way, do not fear the seasons of pruning in your life. Some branches must be cut so that the tree can bear better fruit. Some things you believe are losses are actually rescues. Some people left your life not because you were unworthy of love, but because they could not walk with you to the place where I am leading you. Some opportunities passed by, not because I wanted you to fail, but because I knew you would have sacrificed too much peace to keep them. Some dreams you had to release were not taken from you, because I wanted to hurt you, but because I wanted to open your heart to something deeper than what you once prayed for. You often see only the branch that has been cut, but I see the season of fruit that is coming. You see only the empty space that has just appeared, but I see the place where I am about to plant a new seed. I do not take things away to leave you poor. I make room so that grace may enter. As John 15:2 says, every branch that bears fruit is pruned by the Father so that it may bear even more fruit. Do not fear my hand when I remove what is slowing you down. That hand is not cruel. It is the hand of a Father who knows exactly what you need in order to bloom in the right season. Perhaps that is why I tell you not to tell everyone everything right now. It is not because my miracle must live in fear, but because some sacred things need to be nourished in privacy before they are revealed with joy. Some dreams, when they are still fragile, can easily be wounded by the doubts of others. Some promises, when they have only just touched your heart, can easily be swept away by voices telling you that you are dreaming too much. But you do not need to argue in order to protect what I am planting. You do not need to make everyone understand why you are changing. You do not need to explain why you choose silence, why you no longer chase the things that once exhausted you, or why you are learning to step back from places where your heart has been wounded. I know, I see, and my understanding is enough for you in this season. There are steps you must take without applause. There are decisions you must make that no one will ever know how deeply you struggled to choose. But remember, the deepest things in your life are often born in secret places. A seed does not need a crowd in order to grow. It only needs good soil, clean water, and time. In the days ahead, I want you to pay attention to the very small changes in the way you see yourself. Perhaps in the past you always thought you were not good enough. You looked at others and saw them as more capable, more beautiful, more fortunate, more deeply loved. You compared your journey to theirs so much that you forgot I do not write the same story for everyone. Every soul has its own season, its own path, its own appointed time to bloom. A flower growing in the valley does not need to look like a flower blooming on the mountaintop. You do not need to resemble anyone else in order to be loved by me. I did not create you as a copy of someone else. I placed within you things that only you can bring into this world, a compassion shaped by the pains you have endured, a gentleness born from the wounds you have suffered, a gaze that knows how to honor the forgotten because you yourself once felt invisible. Do not turn away from yourself simply because you have not yet seen all the beauty I have placed within you. Psalm 139 says that you were fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not a mistake. You are not an extra page in the story of life. You are part of my purpose. When you begin to believe that again, the great miracle I am preparing will not only change the circumstances around you, but also change the way you enter every place. You will no longer have to bow your head in fear that you are unworthy. You will no longer have to cling to hands that wound you simply because you are afraid of being alone. You will no longer have to do too much just to earn a little recognition. I will teach you that you can stand still and still have worth, that you can be silent and still be heard, that you may not yet have achieved anything in the eyes of the world and still be one who is unconditionally loved in my eyes. When you understand this, you will no longer let criticism determine your mood, nor praise define who you are. You will begin to live more lightly, because you will no longer carry the burden of proving that you are worthy of love. You were loved before you did anything at all. I called you mine before you knew who you were meant to become. So slow down a little. Beloved, do not let anxiety about tomorrow steal your presence in today. There are blessings hidden in the simple things you often pass by too quickly. A humble meal still shared with someone at the table. A first rain that cools the heat of a long day. A stranger smiling at you on the road. Birds calling to one another in the morning. a moment when you are able to sit still without having to chase after anything. I am present in all of these things. I am not only the God of great days, of miracles that leave people astonished. I am also the God of the small loaf broken in a simple house, of the cup of cold water given to one who is thirsty, of the widow's tiny coin offered with all her heart. I do not measure love by the size of what you do. I look at the heart you place within it. And when you learn to treasure the small things, I will teach you to see that your life has never been without miracles. Sometimes you were simply too hurt to see them, but I do not blame you for the days when you could not see the light. The one who is in the night does not need to be blamed for not yet seeing the dawn. They only need someone to take their hand and say that morning will come. Today, I take your hand and tell you, morning will come. Not because everything will be perfect immediately, not because you will never again face a trial, but because I will not allow darkness to have the final word in your story. After the cross comes resurrection. After Gethsemane comes the dawn of the third day. After Mary Magdalene's tears at the tomb comes my voice calling her name in the garden. What you are going through is not the final chapter. Perhaps today you are still standing before something that looks like a sealed tomb, but I am the one who can still call life back. Perhaps you do not yet understand why you must walk through this road, but there will come a day when you look back and know that I did not waste a single tear of yours. I also want you to open your heart to receive the people I send. Miracles do not always come through the supernatural things you can recount immediately. Sometimes I send a listener at the very moment you no longer know whom to confide in. Sometimes I place a simple message into your hands on the very day your heart wants to give up. Sometimes I let you meet someone who has walked through what you are walking through, so you will know that you are not alone. Do not shut your heart completely just because you have been hurt before. I am not telling you to trust everyone, but I do not want old pain to become a wall that keeps you from receiving healthy love. There are people I bring not to replace anyone, but to remind you that kind hearts still exist in this world. There are people I place beside you not to save you in my place, but to become the hands through which I lift you up. The early church lived by sharing bread, sharing tears, and sharing burdens. You, too, were not created to carry everything alone. If there are moments when you feel you are not ready to receive what is good, come closer to me instead of running away. You do not need to hide your fear from me. Tell me the truth. I am afraid. Sigh. I do not yet know how to trust. Sigh. I have been disappointed before, so I am afraid to hope again. I do not despise your honesty. I only want you not to let fear become your guide. David cried out many times through tears, yet he still called me his refuge. The Father in the Gospel story said to Jesus, I believe, help my unbelief. I do not require you to have perfect faith before you may draw near to me. I only ask that you bring me the little faith you do have. I can make it grow. I can turn the faint whisper within you into praise. I can turn trembling feet into feet that know how to walk a new road. At some point, you will understand that the greatest miracle is not that you receive everything you once longed for, but that you do not lose yourself while waiting for it. The miracle is when your heart remains gentle after the days of life have tried to harden it. The miracle is when you still choose kindness after having been treated unkindly. The miracle is when you know how to forgive without denying the pain you once endured. The miracle is when you can look back at the past without allowing it to control the way you love today. The miracle is when you dare to open the window of your heart so that light may enter, even though you have lived too long in a dark room. And beloved, I am performing that miracle in you day by day. I am leading you out of self-contempt. I am loosening each knot you do not have the strength to untie. I am teaching you that life is not only about what has been lost, but also about what I am still preparing to give. So keep peace in your heart, And do not rush to tell anyone what I am whispering to you if I have not yet told you to speak. Let that hope become a private lamp in your room. Nurture it with prayer, with gratitude, and with faithful steps, however small they may be. Care for your soul. Rest when you need to. Forgive when you can. Apologize when you must. And do not return to what I have rescued you from. The great miracle that is coming is not so that you may run off and prove to the world that you have won. It is coming so that you may know I never let go of you. And when the true time arrives, when what I have prepared blossoms before your eyes, you will no longer be panicked or proud. You will simply bow your head, your eyes full of tears of gratitude, and say, "You were with me through all the days when I could not see you." Then you will realize that I was never late. I was only leading you by a path deeper, more beautiful, and more loving than anything you ever dared to ask for. But I also know that you carry wounds no one can see. There are sorrows you hide beneath your smile. There are things you do not tell because you fear being seen as weak. There are nights when you lie down but your mind refuses to rest, because worries keep pacing through your heart like a wind that cannot find its way out. Beloved, you do not need to hide that from me. You do not need to come to me with beautiful prayers. You may come to me with the truth. You may say, "I am tired." You may say, "I am afraid." You may say, "I do not know what to do." I do not turn away from your weakness. I am not ashamed of your tears. On the contrary, I come even nearer in the very moments when you no longer have the strength to appear strong. Like a father holding a small child who is crying, I do not demand that you explain everything before I comfort you. I only want you to let me stay beside you. For some pain does not first need to be solved. It first needs to be held in love. When you learn to bring everything to me, you will find the burdens in your heart growing lighter, not because every trial vanishes at once, but because you no longer have to carry them alone. Before, you thought you had to find the answer to every question, extinguish every fear, repair every broken thing by yourself, but you were not created to live as though you had to save the whole world with your small shoulders. There are things only I can heal. There are roads only I can open. There are people you cannot change, no matter how hard you try. And that is not your failure. That is the moment you must learn to release what does not belong in your hands and place it into mine. When you let go, you are not losing everything. You are making room for peace to enter. When you surrender, you are not becoming weak. You are allowing my strength to lift you where your own strength has run out. Perhaps you have heard the story of the woman who touched my garment in the crowd. She had suffered with illness for many years, had spent everything she had in search of healing, yet no one seemed able to help her. She did not come with a loud voice. She did not push forward demanding attention. She simply believed that if she could touch my garment, she would be healed. And when she touched it, power went out. Not because her action was so great, but because that small faith had reached the true source of life. Beloved, you do not need enormous faith for me to hear you. You only need a little faith that is sincere. A whisper, a bowed head, a turning back, a trembling hand still reaching toward me. I do not despise small faith. In it, I see the cry of a soul that still wants to live. So even if today you are still waiting, keep believing. Even if today you do not yet see the miracle in full, keep giving thanks. Even if today you still carry questions without answers, keep walking. There are days when I do not give you a map, but I give you a hand to hold. There are seasons when I do not tell you the outcome in advance, but I give you strength not to stop. There are times when I do not still the storm immediately, but I teach you how to stand firm in it. And when you look back, you will realize that those very ordinary days were bringing you closer to the miracle. Little by little, I was there in every moment you chose not to give up. I was there in every moment you chose forgiveness instead of revenge. I was there in every moment you prayed in silence rather than letting fear speak for you. I was there in every small step you thought no one noticed. So today, do not worry about who will understand what I am doing in your life. Not everyone has to understand. Not everyone needs to know. Some things will only become clear when their season arrives. Keep your heart simple. Keep your faith alive. Keep your eyes turned toward the light. Let me work in the quiet. For the deepest things are often formed where there is no noise. One day, you will stand before a field in your life that has burst into bloom and remember the time when all you could see was dry ground. You will see my faithfulness in every branch, every bud, every sweet fruit you once could not dare to believe you would receive. And then you will no longer need to ask whether miracles are real. You will know, because your own heart will be the evidence. The peace within you, the love you have learned, the strength you have discovered after years of weakness, will tell you that I was always there. I was always guiding. I was always guarding, and I am still continuing to do beautiful things in your life. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong community of faith